wanted to sit down and have a chat with you all about some of the things that I believe that everybody has kind of thought about this past year that has come to mind, because there's been a lot of things that's happened in 2020. And I think a lot of people realized, what if everything crashes? What are we going to do? And one of the things that I'm thankful for is I have a little bit of knowledge on canning. I'm not the best. I'm still learning, so don't think that I'm an expert at it, because I'm really not. But that and gardening, you know, we have some experience in those things. And also, me and my husband, we've talked about, you know, we have 5 children. How are we going to make sure they're fed and things like that? And my husband, he hunts. So, I mean, that's one way that we could feed our family. But also having something stored up, like food. What kinds of food could we have stored up? And I have stored rice this past year. We do eat rice quite often. But it is something that I decided that I was going to buy a little bit extra every time I went to the store. Some other things that I have kind of learned is, for example, I wanted to show you this. This is an oil lamp. Look how pretty it is. And I just learned how to use this. I bought this, I want to say 6 months ago. And I wished I would have picked up another one. And I might in the next little bit. I'd like to have a couple here at the house, because this would be good to have even if the power went out. And I didn't realize how great it was. This is better than a candle. Like, you can make the flame go up and down on it. Like, and it can be like really dim or really bright. And with candles, there's nothing like really covering the flame. This has this glass thing right here, and you can make the flame go up to here and it'd be really, really bright, and then you can dim it out. And this would be more sustainable than a candle. Candles probably won't last as long as this would. This can be just refilled and used over. A candle, you burn the wick out completely. You know, you can buy reusable wicks, which I do need to get some of those. And that's something that I do want to invest in. But I just thought, man, this is just, I didn't realize how neat this little contraption was. Anyways, so I would like to get another 1 or 2 of those just to have here at the house in case the power went out. So I think that this would be a better option for us than just candles. Another thing we thought about was like heat and how to heat your home and stuff. And, you know, we have gas here, and we do have a fireplace that is gas. But what if that goes out, you know? So we do have an actual wood burner, but that is something that's just going to be in case of an emergency. That is not going to be anything else but that at this moment. We have no plans on hooking that up at any time soon. That would be a lot, but we did get one just in case, or we, you know, acquired one just in case something was to happen, which, you know, who knows? It could not. But those are some of the things that, you know, me and my husband have been talking about this past year. I know that there's some people that I have watched on their channels and stuff, and they've, you know, gotten livestock, or, you know, start going into gardening and getting chickens. Now, that's something that we did do this year, but that was something that I wanted anyway. My great-grandmother, she passed away whenever I was, I want to say 29, 30, maybe I was 30. But she passed away she was almost 97 years old, but she really left an imprint on my life. She was a really tough woman. She wasn't like manly, that's not what I mean. Like, she jumped out of the back of her truck whenever she was, you know, I want to say in her 60s or so, and broke both of her ankles and just walked around like it was nothing. And then she had chickens and stuff, though. And I always had so much joy at her house. I would go to my grandmother's house, and I had cousins that were at my great-grandmother's house that were my age, but they were like second cousins, because my great-grandmother had children, and then my grandmother had children a few years, you know, within like a 10-year span of my great-grandmother having her last children than my grandmother. But I always had fun there, and she always had chickens, and she always let me be involved with things. She let me feed her chickens. She let me be around them. She let me do stuff with her. you know, back in the day, whenever you didn't have to have seatbelts and stuff, we would ride in the back of her truck. Now, they did feed their chickens bread, which that's not something that I do a whole lot of or anything like that. But that's what they actually fed their chickens. They would go to the bread store, and all the bread that had expired and stuff, they would buy it at a discounted price, and that's what they would go feed their chickens. And they would get a whole truck bed load of this. And I remember going, and we would pick it up, and we would ride, us kids, there'd be 4 or 5 of us in the back of it, and we would ride in the back of that truck while they sat up front. And it wasn't a big deal. It had a camper shell on it, but we rode on top of that bread. And anyways, she really instilled a love for chickens that I've always wanted them. I've always wanted to, do the chicken thing. So that dream came true this year, and I'm so thankful that my husband, he did not want chickens. He does not like chickens, and he had chickens whenever he grew up, and he just didn't like them. But he doesn't do much with my chickens, so I don't ask him to, because I really enjoy doing the things with them. And sometimes I'll have my daughter go out there and help me. But it's something that I've really wanted. So it wasn't that I bought them because I needed them to survive, which they could, they would be something good to barter, like eggs. And, I do need to get me some roosters. I would like to get, I don't know, I guess I'm needing maybe 4 roosters. I don't even know if that's even what I need to do. I'm going to have to really look into how many and what I need to get. But I do want to get a few roosters, and that may have to come this spring. We have a flea market that's about, 30 minutes or so away. It may be a little bit farther now because we've moved. But we do have a flea market that I can go to, and usually they have chickens, roosters, they have rabbits, they have turkeys, they have all kinds of stuff there. And I can probably find some roosters there. But those are just some of the things that we've talked about. We've talked about several things, but a lot of people, I think this past year, realized real quickly that what if we don't have power, or what if, we don't have a source of water? What if we can't use our debit cards? Because just recently there was a thing that happened in Nashville, and I'm not far from Nashville. I'm only about 2 hours away, and the thing that took place, like, there was no phone service for a whole lot of people, which I'm not on that phone service, so I actually had service, but I would say 85% of the people that I knew had that phone service with AT&T, and they didn't have any service whatsoever. And then that knocked out the ATMs. It knocked out the card. You go to the dollar store or to get gas, and you run your card, and you can run your card because it didn't work because there was no internet connection. So I think people are thinking now, like, what would we do? Like, man, if everything's shut down, that card isn't going to mean nothing. And how are you going to get gas in your vehicle? And how are, just different things about how to survive. Now, I'm not thinking that we're, at the end of the world, Armageddon or anything like that. But some of the things that I would like to have that, would make things more comfortable would be, I would like to have a couple more of the lamps. And just have them just in case we just lose power in a storm or anything like that. I would like me and my husband at some point, and maybe this year we can, save up the money and go get it. But I would like for us to buy a generator and have that on hand. I would also like for us to have some type of storage for some gasoline. I guess we could buy, the plastic jugs for them or whatever. But I would like to have some type of, storage of a little bit of gasoline just in case we needed to use that for some reason. But we have things. I don't think that it would be a big change if everything, went south here. But I think we would be okay. I think that, the things that we do have, we would be okay for a while. And I think for a lot of people, this year has really brought those thoughts into our minds of, what would we do? What do we need to do? What do we need to think about? And that was one of the things this past year. The big things that I thought about was saving seeds. because that was a big thing. You couldn't find seeds anywhere until about, I don't know, a few weeks after you needed to actually start them. Well, I take that back. I need to start my seeds here in the next week or so, and we're in January, so, and I won't plant until like the first or second week of May. But I couldn't find seeds. It was like after I planted them, I still couldn't find seeds until like a few weeks until I planted. So it was a bit like the end of April. And if you ordered seeds online, the seeds, it would take a week or two to get here. So that's one thing that I really practiced this year was saving seeds. Trying to save seeds. And I watched a lot of videos. I, read things about how to save seeds and how to take them out of different plants out of different like fruits or vegetables and stuff, and just how to actually do that. So that's a skill that I learned this year, and I think that would, be good information to have. I also have a few books on holistic stuff like medicine, like what herbs I could use that would help with, a fever or pain or a headache or an upset stomach and just different things like that. Now, I don't have all that knowledge in, but I do read over those things, and I find them interesting regardless if I'm trying to survive or anything. But what are we going to do as a society whenever there's not many people that have knowledge like this to actually survive and use the things that God actually gave us? Like He gave us the herbs of the earth to be able to, help us heal and with sickness. But also like sustaining life as far as food and growing things. Like we have come so far away from that. Now, I'm in the country. I feel like I'm in the country. And I've kind of lived in a small city whenever I was younger, but I've always been in the country, and I always remember my grandparents always had a garden, and I always enjoyed it. I don't remember much of the planting until I got older of the garden, but I remember being there, and the garden was there, and you get to go in there, and you get to pick strawberries, and you get to go pick beans, and that was always fun for me, and that's something that we've come so far from because you can just go to the grocery store and buy it now, and what are we going to do if we don't know how to do these things? So my thinking is I want my children to learn and know these skills so that they can pass that down, that knowledge, because that's what we're missing. We're missing knowledge being passed down from one person to the next. And I'm having a hard time just learning things gradually with how to plant and how to do certain things. It is the... what's the word I'm trying to look for here? Trial and error, that's it. It is trial and error to learn how to plant things and how to do them. I have had many failures, many, but I'm getting better. And this year I was so encouraged with my lemon tree. I know I've talked about it, and I am so proud of that lemon tree. And honestly, I think the Lord was probably like, yeah, I'm going to let this grow so she can get encouraged. Because I have gotten so much encouragement from that lemon tree. And I've had people like send me pictures and stuff because I've posted it or whatever online. And they've been like, my lemon tree looks horrible. What are you doing here? So that really encourages me, and I've just been really thankful for it. But these are things that we've talked about, and I know that there's more people out there that's thought about, things, how to survive if we needed to. And just these little things like this little lamp. This little lamp is... it's the greatest invention ever. I've seen them whenever I was younger, but I've never, ever lit one or even done anything with it. And I thought that is the neatest thing ever. But I hope you enjoyed this chat. I know it's been long and I've probably rambled on, but I do appreciate you watching. And if you don't care, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you later. God bless you.